Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gaura Premanandi. Jai Saparika Shisi Guru Goranga Radha Shamasunda Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajagacharya Vajya Sotarasata Shri Srimad Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajagacharya Vajya Sotarasata Shri Srimad Kuru Churamani Sava Shastra Siddhantavit Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Bravishna Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajagacharya Vajya Stotarasata Shri Srimad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bhagya Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali Ki Jai. Jai Kol Kartel Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. So, welcome everyone. We're broadcasting from the East London Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, our usual Sunday afternoon talk, and today is the Adivas of Lalita Saptami, and just before Radhastami. So, where are we? Yes, here I am. So, discussing yesterday a little about this on our Zoom meeting with Srila Madhusudan Maharaj and others. And I found yesterday, actually this morning, a talk given by Srila Govinda Maharaj on this very day in the day before Lalita Saptami. So I thought it would be pertinent to read that, as you know, as Madhusudan Maharaj said, it's a little bit above our pay grade, you know, speaking about these personalities. But we know that Srila Gurudev speaks with not just theoretical or book knowledge, but with divine knowledge, Dibya Gyan. So the best is to hear from him. So although we're not able to hear from him directly, we can hear his words. So this is Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj explains the position of the dearmost of Sri Rupa and Sri Radha. Tomorrow is Sri Lalita Saptami. It is an extremely worshipable and merciful day for the conditioned souls, because only the mercy of Lalita Devi can give them service to Radharani and Krishna, the divine couple. We know Lalita Devi's position through Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu and the other Goswamis. She is the supreme servitor, and her service is more valuable than Radharani's service to Krishna. She is very strict about the service of Radha and Krishna. She cannot tolerate even slight faults, but she is also very merciful to sincere seekers who are junior practitioners. Radha and Krishna's 8 principal Sakhis are all under the guidance of Lalita Devi. It is puzzling to us that a servant can tell their master, "Sit down, don't interfere with my service." Yet Lalita Devi, and only Lalita Devi, has the right to speak this way. Srila Rupa Goswami composed a poem about Lalita Devi. Radha Mukunda Pada Sambhava Garma Bindu Nirman Charano Pakarani Krita Deho Laksham Uttunga Surida Vishesha Vasat Pragalbham Devi Gunahai Lalitam Namami. Excuse me. This is the first verse of Sri Lalita Astakam. Gunai Sulalitam. She has all varieties of sweet qualities, and her service is incomparable. She is very merciful to everyone, but she knows how to serve better than anyone. Radha Mukunda Pada Sambhava Garma Bindu Nirmanchana Pakarani Krita Deha Laksham. If she sees any deficiency or disturbance in the service being offered to Radha and Govinda, she becomes very furious and desires to take on thousands of bodies to remove Radha and Krishna's unhappiness. Naturally, as Radharani and Krishna play, sweat appears on their lotus feet, and they sometimes begin to feel some fatigue. To remove that sweat, Lalita Devi desires to take on thousands and thousands of bodies. Uttunga Saurida Vishesha Vasat Pragalambham. Sometimes she chastises Radharani, and sometimes she chastises Sri Krishna, but always for their satisfaction, their service, their happiness, their joy. She has no other intention. There are many groups of Sakhis: Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Champaklata, Tungabidya, Indulekha, Sudevi, and Rangadevi are the 8 principal Sakhis, and each of them have groups of Sakhis, but Lalita Devi is the chief of them all. To serve Krishna, Radharani sometimes shows Vamabhav, that is, she sometimes becomes angry or strongly opposes Krishna. Sometimes others find this very unpalatable to see, but Lalita Devi always wants to harmonize, and if necessary, she chastises Radharani or chastises Sri Krishna. Her position, her nature and mood are like that. We know that 100% is the maximum in mathematical calculation, but Lalita Devi is 200% dedicated. Ultimately, service is given by Rupa Goswami Prabhu on the order of Lalita Devi to Radha and Krishna in Radha Kund, Shyama Kund, the Rasastali, and everywhere else. Rupa Goswami Prabhu is a very close servitor of Lalita Devi, but by age is very junior to her. Sri Rupa is very, very dear to Lalita Devi, and she does not know anything other than Lalita Devi. Without Lalita Devi's consent, she does not do any service for Radharani. We can understand chastity through Narottam Thakur's song, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Say Mora Sampada, Say More Bhajana Pujana. This is the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya's chief and most honored song, and it is very dear to the devotees because every devotee wants to serve Lalita Devi under the guidance of Rupa Goswami and have Lalita Devi engage them in the service to Radharani. Our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur always follows the line of Rupa Goswami. The order and satisfaction of Rupa Goswami is our target in going to render exclusive service with the full consent of Lalita Devi to Radha and Krishna. That is our line. Srila Das Goswami was exclusively attached to Lalita Devi and Rupa Goswami. He wrote many verses glorifying them. Once, Srila Das Goswami's servant passed through Sakhistali, which is the village of Chandrabali, Radharani's competitor. Thus he collected some buttermilk. There he collected some buttermilk in a very big leaf. When he gave it to Das Goswami, who is in his last years and eating only buttermilk, Das Goswami asked him, "Where did you get this big leaf bowl?" The servant was a simple-hearted Vaishnava and said, "I came through Sakhistali, and there I saw this leaf and collected some buttermilk for you inside it." "Huh, you have given me a leaf bowl from Sakhistali?" Then Das Goswami threw it on the ground. Through this pastime we can see how much he is dedicated to the line of Lalita Devi and Rupa Goswami. Sakhistali nahi heri nayane, dekile saibyake padaye mane. This is from Sharanagati by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I never cast my glance towards Sakhistali. If I see it, I am reminded of Shaibya. Jye pratikula chandrada sakhi, prane dukkha pai tahare deki. I feel pain in my heart whenever I see any of Chandrabali's unfavorable friends. This is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's very exclusive song about Sri Rupa Goswami, Radharani and Lalita Devi's line. Every day new arrangements for Radha and Govinda's enjoyment are made. In different places, in the forest, amongst flowering trees, arrangements are made for Radha and Govinda's Kunja Lila. Lalita Devi gives all of the directions for this and also tells Krishna where the festive meetings are being arranged. Then Krishna goes there to meet Radharani. In this way, Lalita Devi arranges everything. Before, during and after, She is constantly conscious about the service of Radha and Govinda. Tomorrow is Lalita Devi's appearance day. We know that Lalita Devi was born in Uchagaon, near Brishabhanupur, Barshana. Lalita Devi is a little older than Radharani. I think she appeared 1 year and 1 day before Radharani. The supreme form of service to Krishna is paramour love. Love, affection, beauty, charm, and so on. Everything are found in Krishna's service, but paramour love is the most tasteful for Krishna. For this reason, Radharani shows that she has a husband, Abhimanyu Ghosh. Lalita Devi and others also have husbands. If they did not, paramour love would not exist in Lord Krishna's transcendental abode. We are not qualified to speak about the service Radharani and the Sakhis offer to Krishna, or how they are offered. But Vaishnavas have said something about that in the scriptures. So many poems have been written in the Vaishnava literature about that, and the poets have given supreme honor to Lalita Devi. Chandidas Vidyapati Rayera Nataka Giti Karnamrita Sri Gita Govinda Swarup Ramananda Sane Mahaprabhu Ratri Dine Gaya Shune Parama Ananda. This is a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Every night Sriman Mahaprabhu tasted the ecstasy of paramour love for Krishna. Swarup Damodar sang songs by Chandidas, Vidyapati, Ramananda Rai, and Jayadev Goswami. These compositions are all built by a mountain of dedication in paramour love. Jayadev Goswami wrote, Meghai Maduram Ambarambana Bhuvaha Shama Tamala Durumahai Naktam Biru Ayam Tvam Eva Tat Imam Radhe Griham Prapadaya Itiham Nanda Nindeshata Chaitanyo Prati Adva Kunja Drumam Radha Madhavayo Jayanti Jamuna Kule Raha Kelaya. This is the first verse of Gita Govinda. Radha, the sky is filled with clouds. The forest has become cast into darkness by the tamal trees. He is coy at night, so bring him home alone. Thus advised by their friend, Radha and Madhava pass by every bush and tree along the path. Their confidential pastimes along the bank of the Jamuna conquer all. The Rahakeli, the confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna, are the super expression of paramour love. But all arrangement for this is done by Lalita Devi, their friend. Within Radharani's society, in Chandravali's society, Shaibya, a Sakhi of Chandravali, and her group make arrangements and sometimes steal Krishna while he is on the road. Krishna often goes to Radharani's kunj, but Chandravali is also very clever, and she takes Krishna's hand while he is walking towards Radharani and says, "Come to my kunj." Krishna gives some expression, but not a satisfactory explanation. Then Krishna goes to Chandravali's kunj, and Radharani cries in her kunj. Like this, different kinds of pastimes of Radha and Krishna happen in Vrindavan Leela. We are so fortunate that today we've had a little festival, and as possible by me, I have tried to glorify Lalita Devi. I think she will not be angry with me, and by the grace of Srila Guru Maharaj, one day we will get the opportunity to serve her divine grace. Jayam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So there we are. What can we say? Really nothing to say more than that. We're sadly grossly unqualified, perhaps even to hear that, but somehow we hear these things. And Srila Guru Maharaj would often say, when he was telling something high, inevitably, Guru Maharaj's talk would start somewhere and it would go upwards. And sometimes that means that he would say something, like too high for us. And then Guru Maharaj would check himself and he would say, oh, such high things from such a mean mouth. So if Guru Maharaj, the great guardian of devotion, the great Rupanugadara himself, the whom Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Shastra Nipuna Sridhar Maharaj, means genius of the revealed scripture, Sridhar Maharaj, and so many other things that he said, in which to qualify Srila Guru Maharaj's position in our sampradaya. If he is to speak in that way, checking himself, then what about ourselves? We have to be very cautious. Srila Guru Maharaj would say, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. So on these subject matters, we don't want to speak about them, or even if we do want to speak about them, we should not. And Guru Maharaj would say, so then we must follow the angels, that where they will not tread, we should also not think that we can go there, voyeuristically trying to see something for whatever reason. In fact, in discussing these things, Srila Guru Maharaj told us, the higher literatures, like, Gita, Govinda, or Ujjvala Nilamani, or so many, Govinda Lilamrita, Krishna Kanamrita, so many. When Guru Maharaj would talk about, studying those books or reading those books, he would say, you may be qualified to read them. He was referring to his respected godbrothers, older, senior godbrothers and disciples of Saraswati Thakur, and he said, you may be qualified to read those books, but still you should not, because our Guru Maharaj did not allow it. So, Guru Maharaj was very strict about that. What was allowed by his Guru Maharaj, only that he would allow. So, and that's not just, like some kind of convention or, it is actually purposeful. Why would Saraswati Thakur forbid his disciples to study these books? After all, they're the wealth of our sampradaya. But Srila Govinda Maharaj explained, if you read those books, and you will necessarily, you will project your mundane idea about relationships between men and women in this world, and you will mistake one for the other, while thinking that you're appreciating something very high. But actually, Govinda Maharaj said, but instead you will go to the garbage of Sahajism. Sahajism means imitationism, and we can say that's what is called in a broad sense. But the garbage, Guru Maharaj said, we do not want our friends to go to the garbage of Sahajism. That means when you take something which is very high and very rare and very expensive, you can say, you take it in a very cheap way. So, it's like if you go to the what's that place in the middle of London where they Hatton Garden, isn't it? Hatton Garden, where all the jewelry, like really expensive jewelry shops are, So it's only, like really wealthy people that go there to look at the jewelry there, to choose a engagement ring. But, you're talking about film stars, pop stars, people who are extremely wealthy, they go in there. And if you and I go in there and say, can you show us a few rings? They'll just laugh at us, because they'll know immediately, these people can't afford anything here. They'll just laugh at us. Maybe they'll indulge us, or maybe they'll say, perhaps you should pop down to Argos and see what they've got, on offer there. So similarly, if we think that we can, go into the showroom of Krishna's Madhura Leela, Paramore Leela, then we're grossly mistaken. And not only would we be laughed out of the door, but we would also go down. And Srila Guru Maharaj would say, he says, just like when in the game of football, when the ball comes really close to the net and then misses, it's considered a great tragedy. Previously, we used to have the West Ham United football ground here, and when there was a football match on, you could hear that very thing, right? Everyone, the striker, he's getting near to the goal. He's got the ball there, the goal's in sight, and they're all cheering, like hundreds of the supporters cheering. And then he takes the shot and misses, and you hear them, yo! Like in chorus, you can hear them all, bemoaning, like what a great tragedy. So, Guru Maharaj compares that Sahajiyism is like that. You've come to the highest conception of the worship of Radha and Govinda, the divine couple of Braja, in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami. But now you've taken your shot and missed the goal completely. And you will go down for that. Just like in the football match, while that striker that missed the goal, he has to then hang his head in shame, isn't it? Well, all the fans curse him as he goes off the pitch. So something like that, you become cursed if you try to enter into such high things. You came so close, but then you wanted something cheap, something quick, something that's actually not worthy of you. You're not worthy, or rather you're not worthy of that. So Gurudev would say, that is our main task, is to make ourselves fit recipients for Krishna's grace. And the only way to do that is by practicing humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, and at the same time not expecting any honor or respect for yourself. This is Mahaprabhu's formula. Guru Maharaj said, the trade secret of success in devotional life, Trinadapi Sunichena, Taroriva Suhishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Shadahari. That we must be humble, tolerant, and give honor to all, while not expecting any for ourselves. And we hear this so often, but we must not think, oh, that old chestnut again. They're always harping on about that humility, tolerance, giving honor to, because it's fundamental. It's the very foundation of our attempt to worship Lord Krishna. Our very foundation of that rests on humility, tolerance, and giving honor to all. In fact, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that real humility is the benchmark of Krishna Prema. That those who have actual Krishna Prema, they display the utmost humility. And we see that in the example of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. How humble, how tolerant they are, not caring for anything at all of this world. So, we have to try to make ourselves fit to receive the treasure of Goloka Vrindavan. And that is only available to those who are 100% surrendered at the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. This is the truth. And it's not, and surrender doesn't mean just like, being part of a fan club, waving a flag or, cheering on this one or that one. No, it means to be utterly at the disposal of Krishna's beloved in every way. So just a few weeks ago, was the appearance day of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, and he's like a perfect example of that. Guru Maharaj said about him that, think about it, he came to America, he had no money, nowhere to stay, nothing at all, and he's come to preach Krishna consciousness. He might have as well have been going to Mars. He didn't know, what will it be like in America? He had no idea what it would be like. It's not like he could just Google it and have a look or see something on the television. No, maybe he saw a few magazines with some photographs of New York or something like that, but that's all. That's all he had in those days. And then he had to make that, 2 months or 3 months journey by ship all the way there, and suffered so much with his health, at least 2 heart attacks on his way over. And then he arrived, and for a long time nothing was happening. He was even contemplating to return to India, but the man at the dock would say to him, "You're always coming and asking when the next ship back to Bombay is, but you never go." Because in his heart he knew, no, I'm here. But Guru Maharaj said about him that he made himself so completely empty of anything but the order of his Gurudev that Krishna had to come and work on his behalf with some, supernatural power had to come and work through him. And really it's the fact. Really it is the fact. So that's what it requires actually to be fit for that engagement in the service of Lalita Sakhi's group, of which he was no doubt an ambassador. But so really we can say, that at least I can say for myself, we're completely disqualified from that. But it is my conviction over the years, I've come to this conviction, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think I'm correct, that although we may be completely disqualified, completely unqualified, completely fallen, Krishna is completely merciful to the fallen souls. Krishna is extraordinarily kind, extraordinarily gracious, and extraordinarily merciful. We've heard it before, that God loves us more than we could love ourselves. And it's not just some kind of hyperbole or some kind of statement to win us over. It's actually the fact that it is not possible that we can estimate how much he wants that all jiva souls will come to him. But because he has given us free will, endowed the jiva with free will, then he cannot force us to come to him, cannot force us to love him. He only waits for us to realize that that's what is our actual inner necessity. And when we try to offer ourselves to him in a loving way, when we realize that all of that inner propensity that we have to give love is meant for him. And all of that inner necessity that we have to be loved is meant to be from him. So in that way, actually our real necessity in all cases is love. And we simply make the mistake of looking for that in the wrong place. In this material world, everyone looking for it in the wrong place. Everyone is thinking that eros equals love, or the possibility of love. Through sexual attraction from one person to another, that will result in a loving reciprocal relationship. And maybe it will, to some degree, but still it will not be complete, and it will not be full. It will never be full. It will always be deficient, until and unless we realize that our absolute necessity is in awakening our dormant love for Krishna and accepting the love that Krishna wants to bestow upon us from his side. Both sides is necessary for that kind of reciprocation. And Krishna is the Akila Rasamrita Murti. He is Rasaraj. He is the embodiment of that. If in this instance we can say that rasa means love, ultimately, then he is the reservoir of all love. And whatever our inner necessity is, he can fulfill that to the nth degree. And actually, it's not even a case of fulfillment, because fulfillment means you're full and it's finished. But there's never any end to that. There's never any end to the love that Krishna wants to bestow upon his devotees. And there's never any end of the loving service that we can offer to Krishna. It's eternally present and increasing all of the time. So actually there's no question of any fulfillment, ultimate fulfillment, because it's more like fulfillment and more. That that your glass has been filled to the top, but the liquid keeps coming and it's overflowing. And that's what it's like, that our capacity for love will become fulfilled to such a degree that it's overflowing. And those who have real love for Krishna, then that overflowing reciprocal love, that spills onto all those that they come into contact with. Every year the devotees would come to see Mahaprabhu in Puri, and they're asking every year the same question, what should, as householders, what should be our service? How should we serve? And Mahaprabhu would always say, chant the holy name of the Lord, develop love for the holy name of the Lord, and serve the Vaishnavas. And they would always say, who is a Vaishnava? We can serve the Vaishnava, but how do we know who is a Vaishnava? And every year Mahaprabhu would give a different reply. And finally his reply was, a Vaishnava is one who, as soon as you see them, that the name of Krishna spontaneously comes from your mouth. Previously he said, a Vaishnava is someone the name of Krishna is always on their lips. Previous to that he said, a Vaishnava is someone who even once said the name of Krishna. And many, different versions. But finally he said, a Vaishnava is one, as soon as you come in connection with them, as soon as you see them, the name of Krishna irresistibly comes from within you. Now that's, his or her overflowing chamber of love for Krishna spinning over and coming into the vicinity of that, that touches us also. It is incredible and impossible, but it is a fact. And that is our prospect, however unqualified or disqualified we may be, that Krishna wants to give himself to his devotees. And everyone in their essence is a devotee of Krishna. Only we just need that to be awakened within us. And that awakenment comes by the association of the true devotees of Krishna, by those who love Krishna. Then that automatically spills over onto us if we associate with them in the proper way. So that's always means in the line of service, not just physical proximity, but in actual real desire to serve the Vaishnavas. Our problem is that we always want others to serve us. But actually, Guru Maharaj saying, we should not cast our net downwards to try and bring in things and people that we can exploit for our own purpose, but rather we should look upwards to the abode where we are the servitors, where we go to serve, not here trying to find servitors for ourselves or trying to find things that will benefit us, but rather the other way. That domain where we are 100% engaged in the service and the satisfaction of the Lord, that will be our prospect. The Guru Maharaj said, from Dante's Inferno, said Satan's philosophy is better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. Said this is Satan's philosophy, but we think just the opposite. It is better to serve even in hell than to reign in heaven. So we are looking to serve the Lord in any circumstance. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if I'm born again, even as an insect, if that's in the home of your devotee, I'll be satisfied with that. So then in honesty, who would want that? If we are honest, would you want to be a fly in the house of the devotee? No, because we don't realize what that how high that would be to be a fly in a devotee's home. Once we are able to understand that, so there is no failure in the attempt of those to serve Lord Krishna or to practice Krishna consciousness. There is never failure. That always, in Gita, Krishna says, just a little advancement on this path is sufficient to save us from the greatest fear. And what is the greatest fear? Guru Maharaj comments on that. The greatest fear is death. So not just death of the body, but to death of to not exist, to not be any longer. And the Lord has that power. The Lord could snuff us out, our very existence, our soul. But he cannot do that. He will not do that. Because of his great capacity for love. So he wants to give that to us. He wants us to live with him forever in a life of love. But there is some method for that, some protocol for that, even in the spiritual world. So here we are hearing that there are the groups who serve Krishna intimately, and in our line, the head of that serving group is Lalita Devi. So we are to try to approach her lotus feet, and not just imaginary way or imitating way, but with sincerity, with some understanding of what that is. And Gurudev, I've told this many times, but when Gurudev started the Vrindavan parikrams again, after a long time, after many years, we went with him on that first parikram from Navadvip to Howrah, and then from Howrah to Mathura Junction. There was a direct train to Mathura Junction, the Tufan Express, which is, Tufan means whirlwind. Tufan Express, the Whirlwind Express, and it's probably the slowest train you've ever been on in your life. But actually that was fine because Gurudev came with us on that train journey. And we started off maybe 4 o'clock in the morning at Navadvip, waiting for the first train to Howrah. And it was dark, the sun hadn't risen. We were sitting in the train station. There's some trees with like concrete seat around them, with the tree growing up through it. So one of those, Gurudev sat there, and we sat all around him, like, Guru with his disciples, we were all sitting around him. And Gurudev smilingly said, until this morning, I did not think I was coming with you. So he'd organized all of this Vrindavan parikram and given us all, blessing and permission that we would be able to go with him. But finally, this is what he's telling us. I did not know if I would get permission, if I could come with you, that I would get permission to come with you. He said, all week I've been praying to Srimati Radharani to give her permission, but she is not giving me her permission to go. So right until this morning, I'm thinking that I will not be going. Said, but then at the last moment, Lalita Devi, she gave me her permission to go. We were all just sitting there thinking, like, who are we sitting with here,
What year was it?
Maybe 91 or something like that. Or not, around that time. I'm really not very good with the dates. But it was... so this was, previously Gurudev had organized many parikrams in the time of Guru Maharaj and taken parties to Vrindavan, to Haridwar, to Puri, to the Char Dham and many different places, but Badrinath, and many places. So, but that had stopped because as Guru Maharaj's mission grew and Govinda Maharaj's responsibility had become very great in service. He wasn't able to do that any longer. So for a long time, I mean, certainly that had stopped before we joined in the 1980s. It wasn't happening that time. But then in this time, Gurudev started it again. And so we traveled with him on that train. The train it was meant to take like 23 hours, I think it was, but it ended up nearly 30 hours it took. Because sometimes, you know what it's like in India, the train just stops for no apparent reason and will just not start again for like 2 hours or something, and nobody says what's happening or anything, and that's what happened. But for us, we didn't care because we were with Gurudev. So, we would just sit with him in his carriage and just hear from him all day, and it was wonderful. But it was austere because it's not the best train in the world, There wasn't even air conditioning or anything, So it's what I used to call goat class,
Goat class.
So, but Gurudev also in that same carriage, in the goat carriage, as I call it, then with some fan, but no air conditioning or anything, and sweltering hot inside there. But we were with him, and it was wonderful. It was really wonderful. And finally we arrived in Mathura Junction, and there were some coaches waiting there to take us from Mathura to Vrindavan. All been organized. Gurudev had organized, and with Purnananda Prabhu had made all the arrangements that end. And it was very nice. There were many sadhus came with us, you know, including Tripurari Swami and Bhakti Gaurava Narasingha Maharaj and Vishnu Maharaj, Paramadwaiti Swami. Yeah, they were all ISKCON devotees who'd taken sannyas from Guru Maharaj, and you know, and others, and you know, from our Mott Tirtha Maharaj and others. I think Hari Charan Prabhu came. Aranya Maharaj, who was Krishna Sharan Prabhu then, he came. And anyway, it was a big party. And there was no mott in Vrindavan, our mott there. So we stayed in Govardhan. We first went to Govardhan, and we stayed in the Tulsi Bhavan Dharmshala. We'd hired the whole Dharmshala, and we stayed with Gurudev there. It was quite austere, but you know, we didn't mind actually. It was just wonderful, nice adventure. Tridandi Maharaj was with us. He came from London, and Anjali and her two boys. In fact, her two boys, Leela Sundar and Krishna Bandhu, they were initiated there in Govardhan at that time. And yeah, they were just kids then. They were just kids. And many devotees came. It was a very wonderful time. Karunakana, my wife then, she came too, and did the whole parikram of Govardhan. And we did without shoes also, which, you know, Western people's feet are like, yeah, pampered girls' feet. That's what they're like, you know. So then, and when you go barefoot, it's agony. It's agony, but we did it. You couldn't do it now, but we did it. And so there, and then when we went to, after Govardhan, we went to Vrindavan, and we stayed in Modi Bhavan in Vrindavan with Gurudev there. Actually, that photograph is taken. That's the courtyard of Modi Bhavan, where that picture of Gurudev was taken.
So where is the Modi Bhavan?
I don't remember exactly. But, I mean, most people, when they see that picture, they think it was taken at Chaitanya Saraswat Mount. But Jai Krishna Prabhu, who was also with us, bless his soul, he took that photograph, and it is in the front courtyard of Modi Bhavan, where we stayed during that time. Actually, we left a little early because we had to get back, but to UK, because of our jobs and things, you know. But the devotees stayed there with Gurudev, and it was really wonderful. I think it was the most wonderful time. I went a few times with Gurudev on Parikram, but I think that was to me was the most memorable. Really, Saraswati was there, and she was heavily pregnant then with Birachandra, and for her first baby. And I forget altogether who was there, but so many devotees there. And Gurudev came on the train with us. Subsequently, he flew and met us there, you know, because the Jet Airways, which they do international flights now. Or maybe they did, at least before the lockdown. I don't know about now. But at that time, they only did internal flights in India. But they gave Gurudev a lifetime free pass to fly on their airline. So whenever he would go to Delhi, Vrindavan, he would fly with them for free. Him and one servant that had free tickets to go. So You know, why not? Why not? You know. But the first time he came with us on the train, and that was really special, very special. And actually we had the land for the Govardhan Sridhar Swami Seva Ashram. It was already owned by, purchased by Srila Govinda Maharaj, but no buildings there, no construction. They
We still good.
Yeah, still got, yeah. But at that time it was just like a field, basically, you know. So there was a wall around it, and they began excavating there because Gurudev wants to, like during this trip, he wants to lay the foundation stone for the temple, and that was where they found Giriraj, Anu Giriraj, which is kind of Gurudev's.
Is that the picture that's in that large pink book? Where, there's going to be rising and like scratching their heads, looking at the ground. And
Yeah, I think so.
I have picture in my iPad. I was slightly picture.
Then,
Very nice. Everyone standing.
yeah, I remember Janardhan Maharaj was there. I think Ashram Maharaj was there.
yeah, that's it.
And yeah, so they found this Govardhan Shila, but we weren't sure, like old Gurudev said, he wasn't sure, is it just a rock or is it Giriraj? So he called, we had the Panda, Giriraj Panda, who's the son of Balaram Panda, who was a great friend of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he made a meeting with the local pandas, and they all confirmed, this is Giriraj Govardhan, and he had previously been worshipped by the Brijbasis, and he had become lost over the years, and now he was found again. So Gurudev built immediately like a little concrete hut with a corrugated roof, and he was moved into there, a small singhasan.
Yeah, I got a video of it.
Yeah.
And I think it was 1998. We went there and did kirtan, and that panda came as well.
Okay,
We went with Purnananda.
Yeah.
And we did nice kirtan. We had a prasadam there. They chopped the fruit and offered to Giriraj
Right.
and give it to us. And it was nice. That
Yeah.
one very small hut.
Yeah.
uh,
So we were,
A very small ashram.
yeah, and now it's very big.
Yeah.
And Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi is there. It's a very special place,
Yeah,
actually, very
and new
special.
guest house as well, isn't
Yeah, very special.
it?
And
little kund there. And before it wasn't nothing.
yeah. So, and nice red, the temple's red, made of red marble. And yeah, it's very beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, Sridhar Swami Seva Kunj, Gurudev gave that name to the ashram there. At that time, there was nothing built there at all, so they did the
Open field.
laying of the foundation stone, and Gurudev did that. But then he saw that the Anu Giriraj, and Anu, he's big, he's huge, right? But Anu means small.
Small.
So like little Giriraj was like, this is Gurudev's humor. But more than that, he said the reason I called him Anu Giriraj is that we wouldn't give like preference to the other Govardhan in the area. We would he's like the junior. It can also mean like Giriraj Junior. So something like that. So that was Gurudev's thinking. But he could see that's where. After the Giriraj had been moved into that someone had been coming and doing puja there, because there's some kumkum and there's some like incense and so someone had been coming every day and doing some puja there. Then Gurudev was a little puzzled, like, who's doing this? Then he asked Giriraj Panda, can you find out who's been coming every day and doing this? So he went off, and the ceremony was going on, and then he's very tall, right? He's really tall, like maybe 6'6" or like
Yes, yes.
very tall. And then like an hour later, when the ceremony is nearly finished, then Giridhari Panda comes through the gate, and he's holding hands. He's got this little girl. She's maybe 4 or 5 years old, and he brings her to Gurudev and introduces her. This is the girl who's been coming every day and offering worship to Giriraj. So then it had become the time within the ceremony to make like the first offering, and so there was a plate of milk sweets made by local sweet shops, lots of sweet shops in Govardhan. So there was a big plate of these milk sweets there to be offered, and Gurudev said to the girl, "You offer them then. You've been coming every day. Then you offer." And so she just took the plate and she'd pick up a sweet, and she's just pushing it where the mouth. You can see on the Sheila where the mouth, eyes, and flute and different things. If you look, she's just pushing there, going, "Cow, cow, Baba, cow." Like eat, it means eat it. And Gurudev was like delighted to see that, and laughing. And anyway, it was concluded. And Leela Sundar, Anjali's boy, Gurudev, the other devotees went on parikrama around Govardhan, but Gurudev told Leela Sundar, "You come with me," and brought him with him to do the installation and laying the foundation stone. Took him by the hand. "You come with me." And so Gurudev were so much affectionate. And one morning, Gurudev, I was just sitting near Gurudev's room, and Gurudev come out and he says, "Come with me, Prabhu, come with me." And I went with him, just he and I and Ranajit, and we went to the temple of Haridev, which is very close to our ashram, or where we were staying there. This is not on the first one. This is another time. I get them kind of mixed up. But it was just me, Gurudev, and Ranajit, and we went to that temple of Haridev, and it's very ancient temple, because the deity was installed there by Krishna's grandson. So Krishna's son, Banu. Krishna's son Banu was one of the 10 sons of Rukmini, Krishna and Rukmini. First son was Banu, and Banu's son, I can't remember, but he's like Krishna's grandson or great grandson, I forget, but coming from that line, Then he installed the deity of Haridev there, and we went. There was no one there, just a little boy was doing the puja, like maybe 10 years old or 11 years old. He's the pujari there, So we went in, and Gurudev was telling me the history and everything of that, and that was a very special day for me. And I remember thinking then. That time I, didn't have any children or anything, but I was thinking, if I have a son, that's what I'm going to call him, Haridev. But I, never had a son, so. No, let's not go there, please. So, but anyway.
Near Mansiganga.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, also the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's place there as well, near Mansiganga.
Yeah, we just walked there, Gurudev and I, and as we're going by, it was early in the morning, and some of the sweet shops, they're just opening up, so they just, and one man, he's like got all of his sweets ready, and we were watching, Gurudev watching, and he says, "You see what is there, worship, Prabhu." And so he's putting on a plate, like one of every sweet, and then from there, you can see Govardhan Hill, So he just takes the plate and straight to Govardhan Hill. He said, this is their worship. It was really very beautiful, and we walked around that Manasi Ganga, and Gurudev said, I came here with Guru Maharaj, and I would swim every day in there, but Guru Maharaj was very afraid because there was a crocodile that lived in the Manasi Ganga at that time, you know, and it had eaten some people. So Gurudev was very afraid and tell me, get out, you know, there's a crocodile in there. And Gurudev would say, I'm okay, Maharaj, crocodile won't bother me. And it didn't. So, and while we were there, we went to this mouth of Govardhan. There's a temple there, and there is a big Govardhan Shila there, discovered by, I think, by Raghunath Das Goswami, and when we went there, then all of the pandas there, they asked Gurudev to do the puja of that Giriraj there, and Gurudev did that, you know, bathing with ghee and yogurt, and they provided everything, and Gurudev did that. I think probably somebody filmed it, or I don't know, took some photographs, but it was very nice, a beautiful time. Anyway, and we went.
Why, you know, went to Manasi Ganga, and next to Manasi Ganga, only 2-minute walk. Mahaprabhu's Betak, it's called Mahaprabhu's Betak, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's place.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why we didn't go there, you know.
I don't know, but we went with Gurudev to Uchagaon, Lalita Stali, there where Lalita Devi's temple is there, her birthplace, yeah. And you have to go up a stairs to get there. It's a very small temple, but when we arrived, Gurudev said, "You go, I'll stay here. I'm not going to go up." And so we went up, and we circumambulated, saw everything, and then we came down, and then someone asked Gurudev, "Why didn't you come up, Maharaj?" And he said, "I tell you why, because once when I came here with Guru Maharaj, and I had by Guru Maharaj's grace, some divine experience there. And Guru Maharaj, because Guru Maharaj had previously asked me, which is your favorite place? And I told Uchagaon, that's my favorite place. And Guru Maharaj would say, yes, your place. He would call it Gurudev. He would say to Gurudev, this is your place. And Gurudev said, so when I came here with Guru Maharaj, I had some divine experience. He didn't go into the details of what that was, but he said, and I am thinking, if again I will go there, I will only see with my mundane eye, and that will be spoiled, that vision. So I won't go again there. You know that one time I saw that, and so I won't go again there. Yeah, he said, because my fear is that it will be spoiled if I see it again with my mundane eye. He said, of course. But anyway, that's so. Some connection you can see, that Gurudev has some very intimate connection with Lalita Devi, and therefore that our sampradaya coming through Srila Govinda Maharaj is deeply connected with Lalita Devi.
And what about Saraswati Thakur?
I don't know. What about him?
I mean, Gurudev is considered like Lalita Devi. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur?
I don't know. I don't like to, stray into that zone really, because it's like.
No, I thought you might have heard.
No, I don't know. I don't know. But Guru Maharaj did once indicated that his position was same as Jiva Goswami. But, he didn't say he was an incarnation of Jiva Goswami, but his feeling was, some can say representative or, same as Jiva Goswami. But, we're straying into areas that I don't really want to like speculate on, you know. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said he saw his Gurudev Bhaktivinoda Thakur as Gadadhar Pandit, and Gorkishore Babaji as Swarup Damodar.
So who was Ananga Manjari?
I don't know. Maybe all these things, but I don't know. I don't really know all that, and I don't want to just to sound like I'm knowledgeable. I don't want to say something that might be wrong, you know. I don't know actually, and even so, even if I knew about that, what does it mean? You know, what does it mean? So we can say, right, one time Guru Maharaj told us, and this is important actually. He said one man was coming to visit Guru Maharaj, like a wealthy man, Zamindar or something. He came there and he asked Guru Maharaj, or he asked Saraswati Thakur, I want to speak with you alone, you know. And he said, okay. Saraswati Thakur said, okay, you can arrange. And so they upstairs they put two chairs, one chair for Saraswati Thakur, one chair for this gentleman. Guru Maharaj said, I didn't feel like comfortable about it. So he said, so I went there and I like concealed myself in the room just in case, you know, who knows, maybe he was going to try to harm Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur, or, you know, just so someone's there, you know. Guru Maharaj thinking like that. So anyway, Guru Maharaj is like sitting in the shadow or, you know, somewhere. And then Saraswati Thakur said, so what do you want to say? And he said, that man leaned over to him and like very quietly, confidentially said, have you seen God? And Saraswati Thakur said, and if I tell you I have, how will that benefit you? I might be lying, mightn't I? I might be just making it up. If I tell you I have, or if I tell you I haven't, how does that help you? And he said the important thing is for you to see God. You have to see God yourself. Not that I have seen or he has seen, but you must see. Then that means you have to apply yourself to follow this process, you know, Krishna consciousness. And then you may be able to see God. But anyone can say, I've seen God, isn't it? Anyone can say that and get some followers or some fame or this or that. But actually, if we cannot see God, then who's to say if they're telling the truth or they're just making it up? In either way, it doesn't really help us, does it? You know, so.
But Gurudev and Guru Maharaj always write in their book something. That's why we read about Thakur, Gurudev, religion.
Of course, yeah.
That's how we learn.
But not, it's not, you know, like a subjective thing where, like an experience, you know. It's not something that we just experience, you know, or that we're aiming to experience, but rather it's understanding the reality that we live in. Now we're in illusion, and Krishna is reality. Then those who are situated in reality, how would they not see the Lord all the time? Of course, it's that way.
Gurudev used to say, sitting on top chair there, he said, people think I'm looking at 10 restaurants. I'm looking at Krishna.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. So, you know, it's okay. We don't disbelieve any of that. We believe that. When Gurudev said, Lalita Devi gave me her permission, or, you know, then we just accept that. We accept that. We don't say that we understand that, how that is, or, you know, but, and it doesn't make any difference to us. You know, how does that affect me, you know, as I'm still a fallen soul. I'm still completely in illusion, you know, so.
Some people know all this and they've walked away from that philosophy. They walked away. I
Yeah.
know these things.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's a matter of you. It's about you and your relationship with Krishna. It's not like him or her or this one or that one or, this group or that group or, making yourself a card-carrying member of the club, and waving the flag and cheering them on. It's not like being a supporter of a football team. It's about how much you yourself are developing real Krishna consciousness. And that means how much you're becoming humble, how much you're tolerant, and how much you can genuinely give honor to others, and genuinely not want any honor or prestige for yourself. Now that's the qualification, the baseline qualification for those that want to chant the name of Krishna. So, that's what we're aspiring for. And that's just the baseline, So that's the important thing, that we are to try and develop that aspect of ourselves.
The Gurudev used to say, I'm still here, but when
Yeah.
when will I be?
So all of these things, for us, they're almost like a fantasy,
Yes.
hearing about Radha and Krishna and Lalita and the gopis and all of these things. It's almost like a fairy tale to us. And that's why we are advised not to give much attention to that at this stage, because we will confound it
Yes.
with something mundane. Or we'll think that we're...
Give confidence to some devotee.
That's
Listening Gurudev's talk like that.
That's another thing, of course, but I'm sort of speaking in general for us, rank and file, you can say. Then we're trying to follow in that line with integrity and sincerity, and to share that with others as best as we can. It is very high. It's very high, but it is meant for everyone. That's an incredible thing, Some religious groups, right? They think, one particular religious group, they think that by now the whole of heaven is full. And there's no more capacity for anyone to go there. It's all full. So now we have to all wait, and when the Lord returns to the earth, then he'll wake everyone up and make the earth into a new heaven. That's what they think, something like that. But this is materialistic thinking, because the Vaikuntha by its very nature means Vaikuntha, where there's no calculation, there's no counting. It means it's unlimited. It has unlimited capacity. It's never full. We don't apply our mundane thinking of this world to that world. So, and that's our mistake, that we do that we're always trying to see through our mundane reference or through our mundane glasses. We're filtering everything through that by our own experience. Like Guru Maharaj said, when one man came, he said a zamindar, a very wealthy man, came to take initiation, and he asked Saraswat Thakur, what should I think of when I'm chanting, Should I keep a picture of Krishna or something while I chant? And Guru Maharaj said, no, you should not think about any of, because that's just imagination, right? He said, so don't think about that. What you should think, he said, because the mind is like a vulture, and vultures, they live in the crematorium, they're looking for dead things to feast on. So the mind's like that. So the mind, as soon as you try and say in your mind that, oh, Krishna must be like this or Krishna must be like that, so the mind will jump on that like a vulture and bring it to some mundane reference point, you know. Oh, it's this vision, this taste, this smell, this. So no, what you should think is that now I've been given some sound from the spiritual world, which has nothing to do with anything in this world, and not try and reference it with anything that you've seen in this world, not even, you know, a painting of Krishna or anything like that, because that's just an artist's impression. It's not actually Krishna. It's Krishna, but more than Krishna. Krishna's more than that. He's not confined to that. So don't think about it that way. Think about this is Vaikunthanam, and that means something which is beyond all of my experience in this material world. And if we concentrate on the name in that way, then the name will show us its form, its color, its characteristics, and all of those things. They will come to us through the name. But we must understand that that name is Vaikunthanam. It is not anything to do with this world. So there's no reference point in this world that will be satisfactory. So we have to try to consider in this way. This is this name has its own vibration, and it has its own form, its own color, its own quality, everything that we've never experienced before. Allow yourself to be open to the possibility of that, and the name will show you everything in due course of time. And this is our mistake, that we're always trying to reference everything with what we know from this world. But it is categorically different. Guru Maharaj would say, you know, some outward similarity, but categorical difference. Always, you know, and that's difficult for us to grasp, because we can only relate to the things that we know from this world. We don't have any experience of the transcendental world. So then we have to be very careful with all of those things. It's a very subtle thing, subtle subject matter that we're dealing with. We're not dealing with anything of this world. So all of these things, we can say something, but what do we actually know? And what capacity do we have to know? The Guru Maharaj would say, you know, like with your puppy brain, what will you understand? And quite rightly, that man said to Guru Maharaj, you know, Guru Maharaj was giving a talk at a meeting of the Brahma Samaj. And then after the talk, the man came up to him and said, if the infinite can be known by the finite, then that's not infinite. And what he says is true. The finite, it's not possible for the finite to know the infinite, because they're completely opposite. It's like trying to take this glass and fill and pour the ocean into it. It's just madness, isn't it? You couldn't do it. It doesn't have the capacity to hold it. So finite jiva does not have the capacity to hold the infinite within it. So that was his challenge to Guru Maharaj. If the finite can know the infinite, then that's not infinite. What he knows is not infinite. But Guru Maharaj's immediate response to that was, if the infinite cannot make himself known to the finite, then he is not infinite. So infinite means that he has infinite power, infinite capacity. Then naturally, the infinite can make himself known to the finite. Otherwise, he's not infinite, has infinite power. But from our point, from our station, it is not possible for us to know the infinite. But it is entirely possible that the infinite can make himself known to us. That's called revelation. That's grace. So we believe in the doctrine of grace. that the Lord can grace us. So Srila Gurudev would say very often, that two things are true in this world. That is that we are patita, we are fallen, we are all fallen. That is a truth. We are all fallen souls. But the other truth is that Krishna is patita pavana. He's very merciful and friendly to the fallen. That is Krishna's nature. So, even Narayan in Vaikuntha may demand so much from his devotees. That's called Vidimarga. Then if you're worshipping in Vidimarga, then everything has to be exactly at the right time, and the mantra has to be pronounced exactly perfectly, everything. Otherwise, some seva aparad will come to you for that. But Krishna is different to that. Krishna is the friend of the fallen. Then it doesn't matter if you say Vishnave Namaha or Vishnave Namah. Krishna doesn't care about that. Krishna cares about what is the intention of your heart. And even if you may pronounce it wrong, or maybe you don't know anything, any mantra at all, for offering something to Krishna. But if you just say from your heart, please accept this flower, please accept this water, he'll accept. He doesn't require a mantra from you. He requires your heart reciprocation. That's what he's looking for. And even if you know the mantra and can pronounce it perfectly, if it's not from your heart, he doesn't care for that. Now this is Krishna. The human-like conception of divinity. We are always thinking in terms of extremes, bigger than the biggest or smaller than the smallest, pervading even the atom. That kind of, we're thinking, but in the middle, in the medium conception of God, that's Krishna. Krishna, like a young boy. Not four-armed Narayana Vaikuntha, but a little boy playing on the lap of his mother. And sporting in the forests of Vrindavan, playing his flute, all of these things. What is that? That is extraordinary. It is an extraordinary insight into the divine world that you cannot find anywhere else. And it doesn't have any law behind it. His will is the law. Vaikuntha means law. Vaikuntha means Aishwarja and Vidhi. But Goloka is all the heart, is the plane of the heart, the religion of the heart. And that is for everyone. So even rather than thinking that the spiritual world has become full, and that there's no room for anyone else, you can say, Guru Maharaj say, generally, when something is, the more rare something is, the more valuable something is, the more rare it is. So to say that something that's valued as in this world as very precious is because of its scarcity. So then if you find like a perfect gem, then it's valued because there's no others like it. So at one time that was the Kohinoor, right? That's in the Queen's crown, but that comes from India. But at one time that was like considered to be the most precious, perfect diamond in the world, because there's no other like it. Maybe the Hope diamond or something like that was discovered later. That's bigger or more valuable. I don't know, but so that's how things are in this world, right? Because of the scarcity of it, the rarity of it, that it's given greater value to it. So Guru Maharaj would say, you don't take the Kohinoor to the marketplace. If you wouldn't wear the Kohinoor and pop round Queen's Market to buy some beans or something, Of course, the people of Queen's Market wouldn't be able to recognize it anyway, but still, it's not a good idea, is it? If you go to the Tower of London to see that diamond in the crown, you can go and there's all guards around it and everything, but I would almost guarantee that it's not the real thing. That's locked in a vault somewhere, and this is just like a replica of it that you see on display there, even though it would be almost impossible to steal it. But similarly, we have that saying, in English, not to cast your pearl before swine. So this means, if you throw the pearls in front of pigs, they don't understand what a pearl is, how valuable a pearl is. They'll just eat it with whatever else is there. They won't understand that. So similarly, the highest thing it won't be appreciated by the mob. They won't be able to understand what it is and what its value is. So, but it doesn't make it any less valuable. What are they doing?
Police.
Some kind of protest.
Palestine.
Yeah.
Free Palestine.
Okay. All right. What's it say? Gaza, end the siege. Okay, so just outside the temple there is some protest march going on. Maybe you can hear it.
Cars can't go through.
Okay.
Are police guarding them?
So this is the world we live in. And always something happening, Always some kind of campaign for us to get behind in this world. It becomes confusing sometimes, isn't it? Who you should support. It reminds me when the football ground was here previously, when Gurudev was here, then one of the devotees' children asked Gurudev, they said, "Do you like football?" They asked him. Gurudev said, "Yes, I like football." And he said, "What team do you support?" And Gurudev said, "The winning team." But in this world, we don't know which team we should get behind, isn't it? We don't know. But so we should get behind Krishna's team. Actually, that should be our.
The winning team can change.
Yes, of course. Yeah, winning team today can be losing team tomorrow, isn't it? In this world, but Krishna always the winning team. If you get behind Krishna, Gurudev would say, if you can merge your account with Krishna's account, then you have no more worries anymore. So like if a poor girl marries a prince, then her poverty is gone. Then, So in a similar way, if we can connect with Krishna, then all of the problems of this world, they will not affect us anymore. Okay. So, so the point I wanted to make before our friends appeared there on the road is that in this world, when the value of something increases, the availability of that decreases, isn't it? So, and that's a general thing, right? When quality increases, quantity decreases generally. But in the spiritual world, and especially in Goloka Vrindavan, there they have the highest quality and the greatest quantity also. That's the nature of the servitors of Srimati Radharani. She has the greatest capacity for service to Krishna and the greatest number of servitors to Krishna. And those servitors, they are all managed by Lalita Devi. She is the topmost servitor. And as Gurudev said, sometimes she's giving chastisement to Krishna and sometimes giving chastisement to Radharani also. She has that freedom, to be able to do that. Otherwise, that is an unthinkable thing. But sometimes she tells, if they are arguing, Krishna and Radharani, then she may tell Krishna, "You be quiet," not to say that to her. Sometimes she'll say to Radharani also, "You mind your tongue, girl," not to say that. This way, she has that kind of power. So, tomorrow is Lalita Saptami, and then the next day, Radhastami. And Radhastami, we will make a big festival, as we are able, here in the morning, on Tuesday, yeah.
Next Tuesday.
This Tuesday.
Oh,
This Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, coming to
So this is Radhastami, this Tuesday. So everyone is invited. Please come. With morning time, 11 o'clock we'll begin. And we shall try to do something for the honor of Srimati Radharani, although we are not fit for that, of course. So now we can stop today. Time is going on. Now we can have Arati. And I saw our Dayanidhi Prabhu came in.
Yeah, so
So-
when I was coming here,
So we are hoping that he's ready. There's just one part of his Leela is arriving, and then it takes a few longer than normal people would take to actually be ready to come. So okay, we'll stop today. Jai Shri Lalita Saptami Mahotsav ki jai, Adivas ki jai, Jai Shri Radhastami ki jai, Jai Vaishnava Brinda ki jai, Jai Shri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Sham Sundar Giridhari Ji ki jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Jai Srila Gurudev, Jai Srila Guru Maharaj, Jai Vaishnava Brinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande.